I just got a really interesting phone call from my younger son, who happens to be 20 years old, and he wanted to share with me something that he thought about he and my relationship. Is that proper English? I don't even know. And so he said, Dad, when I was in high school, I thought you were perfect. He says, I thought nothing bothers my father. He's always grounded. He's always zen. He always has the right answer for everything. Nothing gets under his skin, and he's just perfect. And I want to be like that someday. Someday I'm going to grow up to be perfect like my father. And what I think he was meaning by that was he thought that all his problems would go away and that all his internal dialogue would go away and he wouldn't have any problems and he wouldn't have any challenges because that's what he saw with me. And then he says, that was how I thought about you in high school. He says, and then sometime last year, he said, I saw you struggling with someone. He says, I saw some cracks in the armor. I saw some, some of the things that just, bothered you. He says, and I got really mad at you. I got mad at you because I thought, oh my God, I thought my dad was perfect. Now what am I going to do? If my dad's not perfect, nobody can be perfect. And if he struggles, how am I ever going to be better? And he said, and then I realized something really recently. And he said, what I realized is that if you could struggle, if you actually do struggle and you create and you do all the things that you write books and you make podcasts and you go out and you speak on stage and you do all this stuff, even though you struggle with things, then maybe actually I can do that too. And that just warmed my heart. That just made me I felt so much better about that because I've never hidden my struggles from anybody. I love that my son sees that I'm grounded and connected and that I'm able to handle things. But I never want him to think I'm perfect. I've always shared that I struggle with stuff. But this brings me to kind of how I feel about the self-help industry, what I see on videos, when I look at Facebook, when I look at other people like Jay Shetty or Lewis Howes or all these people who just put up these perfect, pristine videos with all their wisdom that they've taken from other people, um, I get intimidated by that. So I get a phone call from my son, uh, 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 you know, night before last, I think it was, and this is a follow-up conversation, and he just says, "Dad, tell me your struggles." And I said, "Oh, my struggles. Let's see. I procrastinate. I'm sloppy. I don't do well with paperwork." He goes, "No, no, no. What do you struggle with? What does your head tell you?" I went, "Oh, okay. Well, my head tells me I'm fat, I'm short, I'm weak, I'm too old to be doing this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not a good enough coach. I'm not wise enough. I should have no business being on video. I shouldn't be writing books. There's no way I can coach any of these successful people that I coach." And he's like, "You struggle with all that?" I said, "Well, I don't really. I struggle with it sometimes, but it's what my head says. I just lower the volume. I finally figured out that my head's going to be saying that stuff all the time, and that I just shouldn't listen." And he goes, "Oh, okay. So that helps me a lot." Uh, and for again, back to my point, I finally realized this a long, long time ago. Uh, I said I realized that when I first got my job at Network Appliance, and it was a bigger job than I could have ever been qualified for or thought I could do, but I did it anyway. Was I'm always going to be scared. I don't know if I ever can get rid of the fear. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to be um, confident. I don't know if I'm ever going to have confidence. And I still don't know that I have confidence. So I'm not going to wait in life until I have that. I'm going to go do things. I'm going to go try things. I'm going to go be brave. Brave is not the absence of fear, it's having fear and going and doing things anyway. So back to this conversation with my son and the accessibility of uh, anybody who mentors you, anybody who helps you, anybody who teaches you. For me, yeah, I love teachers who are a couple steps ahead of me in something and they can teach me something. I love people who show me their scars instead of their gaping wounds. That helps me know that I can get through things. And for me, what I strive for is I want people to know that I struggle, that my head tells me all kinds of stupid stuff. I want people to know that I do procrastinate. That was my big Achilles heel. That's why I wrote a book, Only Tens, about my procrastination. That was my biggest challenge. That doesn't mean I'm never going to deal with it again. It just means I know my tools that work for me to get things done. I can learn from people who show their humanity. I can learn from people who are real. And what I told him was, dude, anybody who seems perfect, anybody who doesn't show you their humanity, they're either lying or they're lying to themselves. Everybody has humanity. Everybody has challenges. Everybody has struggles. Everybody has talents. You know, there's a lot of people who who do not struggle with getting things done. They may struggle with being heart centered. There are other people who have no problem connecting heart to heart, but can't get their taxes done. That would be me. And I do get my taxes done. I hire people to help me. Shout out to the Magruder Group. So the conclusion of this episode of the podcast is look for people who show you their humanity. Look for people who you can relate to, who are a few steps ahead of you. Look for people who relate to you, have dealt with the challenges that you've dealt with and overcome them. Often people write self-help books and they're good at things and they can't translate it because they haven't traversed what you need to traverse. uh, and that's what mastering midlife is for. The reason I have people on, real people instead of celebrities on my podcast, is I want people to know what the hero's journey is. I was this way, this happened to me, this was the challenge, this is how I handled it or didn't handle it, this is where I am now. And that gives you a roadmap to handle things for yourself. Thanks for listening. I love you. Go try something new today. Have a great rest of the day.